Hello guys, if you are still trying to figure out how does the gene work or you are still not sure, you come to the right place, as today I'm going to tell you everything regarding the gene, so stick around. Let's get into this video. So when you reach level 70, you can go to your workbench and you can craft this gene workbench. Then let's go into the gene research, and in the main menu there are 3 options and I'm going to explain all shortly. So let's start with the gene crafting. In the gene crafting there is 4 types of gene: active gene, resistant gene, awakened gene, and superpower gene. All these 4 types of gene have different stats. For active gene is defensive, then for resistant is also defensive, awakened gene is offensive, and the last one, superpower, is both offense and defense. And what is the effect of each gene? You can look at this side menu, and as you can see there are additional stats that is new, and you can go through every stat that you want. So let's try to craft some gene. Let's start with active gene, and you can use the quick add option to select any resources, but I recommend you select manually, as you can select which resources that you don't use. So let's craft 4 gene first. Okay, that's all for this section. Next, we'll go into genetic recombination. Genetic recombination in the layman's term is you're trying to add gene A and gene B together to make a new gene with more stat or better stat than your original gene. So in this menu, you have 2 slots to add your gene. First is your primary gene and second is your minor gene. What do you mean by primary gene? Primary gene is the gene that you want and has a better stat, and your minor gene is the gene that you want to sacrifice to add the stat to your primary gene. For example, let me take an awakened gene. So for example, I take a level 2 and a level 2. So when you add a level 2 and a level 2, there's a chance to get a level 4, level 3 or 2 or less. How fun is that when you can add a gene and it become 1 stat instead of 2, the minimum. With that out of the way, let's explain this. Okay, you can click the effect preview. Here you can see the both combined stat. So for example, if you manage to get 4 stat, and you will get all total 4 stat from the gene. If you have 3 stat, then you can get 3 and they will randomly generate 1 to make it 4 if you only have 3 stat. So for example, if I combine these 2, we'll see your rating. As you can see, the rating can drop, can increase, it really depends on luck. So you can either retain, which means you retain your original gene status, or you can select your new stat. So in this case, I just retain my original status. And second thing I want to point out is, for example, you select both stat with the same attribute. As you can see, if you select both stat that has, for example, here is the skill strength, and your secondary skill strength is higher, when you combine, it will select the higher skill strength, but it won't combine 2 skill strength into 1. So the best way is try to avoid using same skill in the same gene when you want to combine. As you can see, the percentage of getting higher more stat will be higher if you use higher quantity of stat on your secondary. So for example, here you can see it, I only select 3 stat and you can see it's only 6 stat for 5%. If I select the 4, you see it goes to 9%. So you can risk it or you can just try your luck and see how it goes. So this one, let's see, crit damage. Okay, this one is a good one. Let's select this one. Okay, the other thing is, you see here on your primary stat there's 4 box. You can select which one you want to lock, and when you restructure it, the skill will remain. So I'm not going to lock any stat. Okay, finger cross on the good luck to me then. Okay, let's see what we have. We retain our weakness damage. We increase damage 27, skill strength 47, critical damage 77. So obviously I'm going to use the new stat since it is better than the original. And yeah, now you see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 stat here. So how do you get its stat? So you can slowly combine from 6, then you add another 6 to make it 7, or you can select the 4 and the highest also it will go to 7. If you select 6, you can go till 8. So that is basically how gene recombination work. Before I go into gene transcription, I'm going to show you how are you going to sell the gene. We have to go back here and I'm going to show you. Okay, in order to sell the gene, you have 2 choices. One, the owner own stat of the gene is equal or more than 5. That means you have to have minimum of 5 stat in order to sell the gene. And second is, if your gene has purple stat, you can directly sell in the trade city. So for example here, let's see, for the rare gene, you see if I select 4 stat, this guy has a purple stat, so he can directly sell the gene. Unless you don't have any purple stat, then you have to go 5 stat. When you go to 5 stat, you can sell it as long as it's 5, and the stat doesn't matter. As long as it's 5 stat, you can sell it in the trade city. So let's get back into gene transcription. Okay, the last part I'm going to explain is gene transcription. Basically, gene transcription in layman term is you encrypt your gene to your character to increase your character stat. So how to encrypt your gene is, just now there is 4 gene. You can select the gene that you have crafted or the gene you have recombined and encrypt it to your character. So other than equipping the gene to your character, there is also a bonus when you equip the gene which have 5 stat or more. So that's all for gene. And for those who are wondering where to get all the material, you can get it at the Goba store. And this is this one to level up your gene. This one is to lock your gene stat so that the stat that you want is in the gene when you recombine it. This one is to use for recombination, and the last one is for you to craft your gene. So that's all for today's video. Thank you, and remember to hit the subscribe button if you haven't, so that you won't miss out on the future video, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.